All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Thank you so much for showing up to the Provoke Coach podcast. As you know, I'm Clinton. I'm your host. I am the AKA Provoke Coach. And I have with us today, really a special guest that I really got a chance to share the stage with, which is something that was important to me. It was exciting to be rubbing my shoulders with this guy. I have with us Derek Butler. Thank you so much, man, for showing up to our podcast today.
Hey, brother, I truly appreciate you, man. You are a hell of a guy. I love the energy you put out, and I thank you for inviting me on to your wonderful and amazing platform, my man.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Now, look, as I always say every time I get somebody on my show is that, look, I know your story. So this isn't just you and I talking tonight. This is really my audience, your audience. Maybe people haven't stopped and really just listened, but what I really want to tell everybody is really who you are, what you do, present day, I guess. What's going on in your life right now, Derek?
Well, man, I'm Derek Butler, man. I'm an emotional empowerment coach, have my own coaching business, DB Empowers, and I help men master the mindset and emotions and, show up every day with more confidence, certainty, and authenticity. So that's me at a 50,000 foot view. That's what I do, right?
Yep.
The real me, man, is the truth is I'm a young black man. I like to say I'm young, 41 years old.
Yeah, you're young, baby. That's the same
black
age
man,
as me.
who is a trauma victim transformed into a victor over trauma.
Yeah.
I am someone that's been homeless, had to sleep in cars. At times I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. I've been abused physically, mentally, emotionally, and sexually. Mm-hmm. At times I had to watch my dad beat my mother like she was a man. And times I tried to jump in and stop it. I get beat on too. I struggled in high school with my grades. I was a great athlete, football, basketball, wrestling, great athlete. I had everything as far as when it came to gifts and talents and skills. I knew what I wanted to do from a young age. I knew, but I couldn't do that because of the limiting beliefs and behaviors I had about myself due to the way I see myself and my circumstances.
Yeah. So you coach. Yeah. So I don't want to interrupt you, but so you coach, men only. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right.
Point, okay. Yes.
Yep. Let's talk about that for a second. So, ideal client. What are we looking at? I mean, obviously, you want to help everybody or as many people as you can. But how does that work?
Well, I deal with millennial men.
Yeah. Okay.
People argue about what that term is, but basically, anyone under the age of 45 right now, from about 21 to 45 years old, that's my ideal client. Men who are trapped in mental and emotional bondage. Men who are struggling with stress, anxiety, limiting beliefs and behaviors, low self-esteem, poor emotional regulation. That's the type of clients I deal with.
Yeah.
And really what it all comes down to, really, Clint, is men who are struggling from unresolved trauma.
Yeah.
But I can't use the word trauma because men do not want to identify with that word because that word signifies some type of weakness or something like that.
And that brings up, kind of a question, I guess. Why do, I guess, men fear from this type of help? And, why can't you use the word trauma? I guess let's start there because somebody's listening right now. Somebody's got to hear this right now and they're going trauma, because guys have big egos, right? So I guess let's talk about that why first.
Well, one, just the definition of trauma alone, I think a lot of people are confused by that. So I want to start there and break it down to trauma at its core level, right?
Yeah.
Base foundation, just strip it all the way down and strip all the scientific terminology out of it. Trauma is anything that leaves you feeling unsafe and mentally and emotionally overwhelmed. So now let's unpack that a little bit. A lot of times when you think about trauma, you think about something horrific, like a big trauma, like a public trauma, like a natural disaster, car accident,
right?
School shooting, terroristic attack, something like that, right? You think trauma. rape, physical abuse, sexual abuse. That's, you think about that, right? Now, not that men don't go through these things. Men go through these things, but they don't want to acknowledge or identify with them because that's a sign of weakness. A sign that you were put in a position where you felt overwhelmed.
Right.
Where you felt unsafe. And what man wants to walk around saying, there's times I didn't feel safe or I felt overwhelmed. And I couldn't cope. I couldn't deal with things, that I was stuck in survival mode. I was unsure if I was going to make it. So when we start looking at that, men don't want to identify with that.
Right.
We'll have to start looking at the effects of unresolved trauma. That's where a lot of the limiting beliefs come in at. That's where a lot of the anxiety and the stress and the poor coping skills come in at. The emotional regulation. That's where those things come in at. Because at the end of the day, Bessel van der Kolk says it best, and he wrote the book, The Body Keeps the Score. The trauma doesn't go anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? We store it in our bodies, and it comes out in ways that we're not prepared for. Yeah. So just because we avoid talking about it or not addressing it or not wanting to say, express that I've been through these things, it doesn't mean it goes away. Yeah. So men, a lot of times, because we have to get back to the second part of it, which is causing a lot of issues in the male community for decades upon decades, is societal demands for men to be tough, deny any kind of vulnerability, sensitivity, or any eternal hurt and pain. Yeah. So when you got that compared to, when you got that coupled with what trauma is and what men are supposed to be, we're not able to bridge that gap.
So let me ask you something, Derek. Is it like an identity crisis? And obviously, men have this identity. I know that I can look back at my life and I can see different parts of my life to where I really kind of had this different identity, right? And, whether it was the corporate world, sports as an athlete, when I became a father, my identity changed over time. What about that, I guess, with men is so much different than, even the female population for that matter?
Well, we can sum it up as an identity crisis, but I want to look at it as like a false sense of masculinity. Yeah. Of what we think is a man supposed to be in all these different roles as a teenage boy. What is a man supposed to be? Like, what is your ideal of what man looks like? What does manhood mean to you? And you got to think, where do we get the perspective, or where do we get the idea of what a man is? Yeah. It's pushed upon us through society, through our friends, through images on television, movies, and music. So I know for me, as a teenager, being a man, I get women. I'm good at sports. I'm popular. I'm the man. Right. So it's not so much of an identity crisis because we don't know what our identity is. Yeah. So now when you transition from, okay, now I'm a husband, now I'm a father, what does that man look like as a father? And we have to examine that versus what we were told it's supposed to look like versus what we feel it should look like. Yeah.
Well, and do you think that people lose sight of their core values? I mean, I think as men, you're right. I think we put certain things up onto a pedestal, right? You put, I mean, your ability to take care of your family from a financial perspective, your legacy, what are you going to leave? When people start thinking about this, I know look, you and I are the same age. You start thinking about certain things when you become 40, even 30, right? When you have kids, you start thinking about the future a little bit. Now, what does that look like? And so now you're talking about, and maybe you're right, not an identity crisis, but what we were told that the perfect picture of your retirement should look like. Well, that's changed a great deal over the last 20 years, right? I mean, I guess my question is that what is the biggest challenge? Why don't men reach out for help? What part about that? Because even life coaches, because you and I both are life coaches by definition, if you will. But when you are, on social media and when you're looking around at life coaches, who do you see? 80% of the life coaches are females, right? And guess what? All their clients are all females as well. Why are men not even involved in this? What holds them back?
The stigma of what help looks like and what help represents. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
what vulnerability means. Like to get help, you first have to acknowledge where you're at. And a lot of men lie to themselves. It's not that bad. It's, you know, and really it is. So I tell
Yeah.
men all the time, listen, you are the expert of your own life. And what that means is you know what's working, but more importantly, know what's not working. So we have to get out of that river in Egypt called denial and speak to the things that aren't working. So the problem is we don't want to acknowledge what isn't working. Then we're not willing to accept that, okay, it is what it is, but there's also things we can do about it. Then we don't want to express where we are.
Right.
Then, then we don't want to take the action because the action looks like you're being weak. See, the big thing about it is for any healing to take place, for anything, if we're going to adapt, recover, and grow from overwhelming experiences, we have to stop avoiding what those experiences are. We have to stop avoiding what those experiences did to us. And then we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And for men, vulnerability is a sign of weakness.
That's
vulnerability means you're soft. You're a punk.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it really means that you're less of a man when you have to reach out. I mean, look, I get it. I've been able, since I've been able to do that, since I've been able to ask for help, since I've been able to realize that something's broken. I mean, look, it took a long time. It took 30 some odd years. But also remember something, right? Like, there's a lot of people out there that they are pretty successful by definition standard. When you are an outsider looking in at their life, they got it all, right? And men, of course, love to show off, right? So it's even heightened. Do you get a lot of that with the men that you deal with? I know I do, but do you as well?
So because they're doing well financially, or they're doing well financially and in their career or business, that they feel that equates success overall because the money's good, business or my career is going well. But at the end of the day, I rate success. How successful are you when it comes to inner peace and calm in your life?
Yeah.
You have work-life balance. What is your relationship looking like with your wife, your missus, whoever you're with? If you have children, what does that relationship look like with your children?
Yeah.
What are you doing for fun? What are you doing to bring you joy? How are you giving back? So you just can't tell me about financially doing. I have a lot of clients that come to me, money is great, career is great, but they're struggling in every other area of their life. So how successful are you really?
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
The problem. With men, we were taught to base our worth off of, can we provide?
Yeah.
Do we have money?
Yeah.
Or do we have a great career? And that's the trap a lot of men fall in. Hey, man, I'm doing well money-wise, but your family dynamic is poor.
Yep, 100%.
Your relationships are lacking, and that's the trap.
Yep. And that really is because, you kind of put yourself into a position. I mean, here we are, we're in our early 40s. So, look, of course we got many, many years left. But a lot of people that are our age usually make a turning point at some time around here, whether it was their 30s or 40s or right now, in whether that's a change in career, change in job. Obviously, with the pandemic, we had all sorts of forced, provoking moments, that people had to really kind of get out there. But it is one of those things that, it's easy to be comfortable. And it's easy to say that that's okay, like you're saying, as far as identity. Now, I'd like to switch gears, kind of a little bit. Now that people know what you do, what you stand for, and how you help people, where are you seeing this in the future? Because our world is changing like this. Like in the last year, it's changed. People have changed. Where do you see for, I guess, whether it's men or whether it's the coaching realm for men or even just empowerment, of these emotions, where do you kind of see that, in the future?
Well, in the immediate future, man, we're on a pace right now. Our goal right now is to help 150 men break free from mental and emotional bondage. That's nice. The first thing within the next 12 months. And then what our biggest thing, man, is my fiance and I are focusing on doing creating a platform, creating a podcast, and creating a business around helping men and women with relationships. I don't mean just relationships with
Nice.
another, but relationships with yourself, because that's the most important relationship. She is a licensed professional counselor. I am a coach.
Nice.
We're going to pair that, bring that together, and we're going to start incorporating that and helping both men and women. I have other coaches under me that we're developing programs for them. The main goal, brother, we're trying to create this global movement where we're changing the male narrative, we're changing what the female narrative is, and we're also helping young people. We're working on our nonprofit right now with building the Center for Time. You understand what I'm saying? What that stands for is trauma-informed motivational empowerment. And our main goal, brothers, what we're trying to
hold on, Derek. Can you repeat that?
Yes, it's trademarked. So anybody out there,
awesome.
It's trauma-informed motivational empowerment. Time. Right here on my shirt somewhere. Time. Yeah.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
We're creating the center of time, because your healing is going to take place at the center of time. At the center of time is where you can learn to adapt, recover, and grow. Because our main goal, what we're trying to do, Clint, I need people to understand this. What we're trying to bring into people's awareness and help them to focus on is not so much what has happened to you or happening to you, but how you respond to what's happening to you. Our goal is to provide tools, resources, support to help you better manage the things that are going on in and around you, so they do not manage you. And that's what it all comes down to, is learning how to manage the distressing overall thoughts and feelings that we have. We are trying to change generational trauma. We are trying to change trauma in the family household. We are trying to equip and empower men, women, and children to be able to adapt, recover, and grow from overwhelming life experiences, and have the tools to show up in this life that the way they want to, the way they dream of, desire, and deserve to.
Well, and I like what you said about responding to the trauma, because you're absolutely right. Like, there's always going to be something, and there's always going to be something that, maybe affects us negatively. I mean, look, why? Because nobody's perfect, right? The world that we live in is not perfect, as we know, and it's changing and evolving. But you're right. I think people's response to situations totally changes exactly where they go in life, how they respond to it, whether it's physical trauma, sexual trauma, or trauma that is just, mental abuse, and things that really weigh on you, and the things that you really are kind of, challenging you in life. Let's just call it that.
Now, hear me on this. And for everybody listening who's watching or will watch, I want you to hear me when I say this. And I mean this, and I'm not trying to sound insensitive. The trauma isn't the issue. You know how I know that? Because if you're here listening to my voice right now, that means you survived the trauma. You survived the initial event. That's not the issue. It's how you are coping with that trauma. It's how you are responding to that trauma, which is the issue or the issues that you've been having in your life. Life, and I'm not trying to sound dismissive, but you survived the initial event.
Yeah.
You survived it. You're still here. It didn't take whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse, a car accident, a terroristic threat, natural disease. You survived it. You're here.
Yep.
Physically.
Yep.
But mentally and emotionally, you're still trapped in what happened. So what we're trying to do is bring you into the present. We're trying to help you to release these things that you've been through, break free from that mental and emotional bondage that was caused by the unresolved trauma. Listen to me. It's not the things that happen to you. It's not the circumstances you've been in. It's the choices you make regarding those circumstances. And at the end of the day, all we are the choices we consistently make day in and day out. That's what determines our outcomes.
And it's really, I like what you said, that it's not just a one-time thing, right? Because I want to be clear, like, it isn't just how you respond to a trauma, right? It's how you respond every day to that trauma.
Yes.
It's the habits that you're doing on a regular basis that you're using to either cope right? De-stress, like, like
Yes.
what are you doing? You're self-sabotaging, whether,
Yes.
it's addiction or, whatever it could possibly be, that self-sabotaging. And I think that, and I'm glad that you're working with youth, because I've always kind of had this a bit of a pet peeve with people, to where, and you were kind of you kind of alluded to this when you said very boldly that, look, trauma happened and you survived. It's like when people blame their parents or their upbringing or their environment, or what happened to me. And I've heard this a million times. I'm sure you've heard it too. Look, you don't know how I grew up. Like, it was
Yeah.
like this, and it was like that, and it was like that. And I just go, oh my gosh. First of all, if I told you my story, you'd probably fall on the ground.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, guess what? I'm here. I made it.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hello, and here's
Yeah.
how, right? I mean, do you deal with that a lot? I mean, a lot of excuses, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Not to be insensitive.
I love what you said though about, hey, I'm here now, I made it. But you didn't just dismiss it. You said, and here's how I made it. A lot of times you hear all the time, well, if I can do it, you can do it too. How? How?
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that old Kanye West clip.
Yeah,
How,
right.
Sway? How, Sway? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yes, I hear that excuse all the time. You don't know what I've been through. And you know what I
Right.
honestly tell them? I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it to be cold. But what I'm saying, if it was just about what you've been through, then everybody who's been through something similar, everybody who's dealt with trauma would not be, they wouldn't make it.
Right.
So it's not about what you've been through. It's about how you are managing and responding to the things you've been through. I'm not dismissing trauma. Trauma is real, and it fucks you. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to curse? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You're good.
It fucks you up. It does. It fucks you up. You have some fucked up things happen to you. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. And the way I cope with the fucked up shit that happened to me, I was a sex addict, a food addict, a porn addict. I ruined my marriage behind chasing. I was a womanizer because that's how I cope. It wasn't drugs and alcohol for me. It was women.
Yeah.
It was food. Yeah. It was, you know what I mean? It was, I needed to feel good. But then also, that thing about taking that victim stance, it serves a purpose for certain people.
Yeah.
It makes them feel something that they're not feeling or they're not getting somewhere else. It brings the attention on them. So it's easy to be the victim and say, well, you don't understand what happened to me. Well, listen, I got what happened to you. What are you going to do about it, though?
Yeah.
What are we doing about it? And once again, I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but at the end of the day, the outcomes you're getting in life are not due to the things that happened to you or did not happen, but they come down to the choices you're making about the things that did or did not happen every single day.
100%. 100%. And, it's so powerful what you said. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And, I just got to ask you, I mean, look, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, and, I guess we can really kind of turn back the time, a little bit. I know where the pain came from. You've already spoke about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But where did the passion come from? Where did all of this? I mean, because
brother,
you're very good at communicating.
Yeah.
Exactly where you're going, exactly how you're getting there, and exactly what you and your fiance are going to do, which is awesome, brother. And I absolutely love you for it. Yes, but where did all this come from? I mean, how did you get good at this? What did you do up until this point?
To be honest with you, man, that passion and the way I speak, man, it was something I was blessed with. I can't take credit for it. Now, I cultivated over the years because I've always been passionate about helping people, man. I'm a helper. I'm a fixer from early on when it was just me and my brothers walking the street homeless. But I've always been a protector. I always wanted to help people. Always wanted to see people at their best. And I was great at helping others, but I couldn't help myself the same way. When I was younger, my brothers, my cousin, everybody used to call me Martin Luther X. You know what I'm saying? Between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Martin Luther X or Malcolm King. Because they said I always lecture, I always talk, I'm always speaking. And I realized that's a gift that I have, man. I was able to motivate. Before I even knew I was a motivator and an inspiration, I didn't even know what that meant, but I was doing it. And I didn't realize, I swear to you, Clint, it was 2007 when one of my mentors told me, "No, you're a motivator." And I did not know. I just knew that people responded to me. I knew that I could get people going. And when he said that, he said, "DB, I know you. You're a hell of a motivator." And I got quiet and I paused. I said, "Oh, that's what I am. I'm a motivator." I didn't know that until 2007. I didn't understand why I can talk to people. And prior to this, I used to use my gift to speak in a bad way when it came to women. I had that gift to gab, and I'm gonna get what I want when I wanted it and how I wanted it. So I prided myself on, hey man, I'm gonna get it. Believe me, I got the rap, I got the game. But I started cultivating and realizing that I want to use it for better reasons. I want to empower people. I want to inspire people. I want to teach and coach people. So I just continue to focus on motivational speakers. Like I followed, Jim Rohn when it came to personal development. I listened to Eric Thomas a lot. I listened to Inky. I listened to Les Brown is one of my favorites. I listened to these guys, and I did Toastmasters at one point. I had speaking engagements and things like that. So it's always been something that's been in me. It's a gift that I've cultivated over the years, and I can't really say it's something that came natural to me. So that's why I know I'm supposed to do it. And as far as the passion goes, man, I just want to see people at their best because I know what it feels like to be at your worst.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and I guess what really kind of sparked you to want to really help people. I mean, sure, you gradually became, a great motivator, a great speaker, a great communicator, 100%. But like you said, you've always kind of had the gift of gab. You just, started using it the right way, right?
Yeah.
When did that happen? When did you go from, DB spitting game at the girls and that kind of lifestyle to really, kind of taking control of your life and focusing on, you and making you happy?
Really, to be honest, probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Up until that, like I said, I had a failed marriage. I was still women. I was still coping, but separated from my wife in 2017. My soon-to-be ex-wife, divorce will be finalizing soon. Separated in 2017. Moved back up to Maryland. And I had some issues, had some things going on. Marriage ended because of things that I was doing and things like that. So I had to start addressing me. And then I got with this wonderful woman I'm with now. And and it's funny because I told her, I said, when we got together, I said, a woman can't change a man, but the right woman can make a man want to change to be his best self. And I said, I think you're that woman. I think you're that lady. And it was something about her, something about what we were like, how naturally we came together and it made me really look at the things that I was doing. I got into therapy. I started addressing my issues. I realized that I didn't want to keep on doing the same thing I've been doing for the last 20 years, chasing women, all about, and living a mediocre existence. Knowing with all these gifts and talents that I had, I didn't want to continue to be mediocre and not being able to live the life that I dream and desire because of the choices I was making. So I started making better choices. And because I started making better choices, I started getting better outcomes.
100%. So before all of this, you were what type of work were you in? I mean, were you
juvenile corrections? Juvenile corrections.
Okay.
I started off in adult corrections in 2004. Got into juvenile correction in 2006 because I wanted to help young people. Like I said, I've been about.
Got it.
I wanted to help young people. So, like I said, I started coaching high school football, which was a true passion of mine. And with the coaching football, like I told my players, and I got connection with players to this day that I coached in high school, and just this love there and this respect there. And I told them, and I used to tell them all the time, hey man, I just don't coach football, I coach life. I just use football as a means to do so, because everything I'm giving you on this field, you can apply to everyday life. And that was the difference. That was the difference right there. And I was doing that, but I was still having my own issues, still doing the dumb things I was doing outside of that stuff. But I continued to grow, continued to progress. And then when I went through the things in my marriage, I had to take a hard look at myself. And like I said, I got with this lady. I was still in juvenile corrections, back up in Maryland. I was a shift commander. responsible for a facility and things like that. And then what happened was, I said, you know what, I want to start my own business. Because I tried to start my own business in 2016.
Yeah.
My own coaching, speaking, and teaching business, but I wasn't in a place mentally and emotionally to do that. So I had everything that I created back then, and then once I started going through therapy, and I realized, I want to stop wasting my gifts and my talents in the juvenile correction system that I feel is not really equipped or even has a desire to truly help change our young people. So I'm going to do it myself, my own way. And when we talk about this pivot, are we talking about changes that COVID caused? Brother, when I first started my business, DB Empowers, it was motivational speaking. I was going around speaking at schools and facilities, and my calendar was booked up until March. When March hit, my calendar was booked up from February all the way through to like September, right?
Wow.
COVID hit, slowed things down. I made a pivot in March, and I don't know what drove me to it, but I got into coaching and started my coaching business, and the rest is history, brother.
Nice. That's so fantastic. And what's funny is that you can kind of see all these things coming together. Now that you told me, that was kind of the missing link for me. When you told me about coaching football and working in the juvenile, because I can so see that, because you're a powerful person when you speak, and you're very direct, you're very bold, powerful, but you have this essence, and that totally makes sense. Especially whether it's on the field, right? Or whether, it is in a facility, you definitely have that power. Wow. So fantastic that come together. Now, let me ask you this, like, what are some of the biggest challenges, I guess, you have, and I don't want to say with men, but you do coach men, those people that are listening right now, what are the things that you see, I guess, the big red flags of, like, they need to get their shit together and they need to get moving, whether it's coaching with you or coaching with somebody else? What are those things that just they need to get moved?
The main thing, first thing I focus on is stop suffering in silence and isolation.
Yeah.
If you're not getting the outcomes in life that you desire and deserve or that you dream of, if things are not going the way you wanted to, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I don't care if it's from me, if it's from you, it's from anybody. I don't care. I'm not, because it's enough out here for everybody. I'm not worried about that. Go somewhere where you feel safe, where you feel comfortable, and get the help that you need, because at times we need help to get to our best.
Yeah.
And just not about positive thinking and, I'm a manifest. No, it's deeper than that. We have to put in the work. So one, we got to stop suffering in silence and isolation. Two, we got to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to do the work. And the problem with that is, Clint, that many men are not willing to do what it takes to get to where they want to be, because it's hard work. Yeah. Listen, when I first started my journey, brother, to work on myself and adapt, recover, and grow from the things I've been through, I used to get up at 4 a.m. and I'd be at my desk crying while I'm working on me. Yeah. Because I wanted to revert back to the old behaviors. I wanted to revert back to my comfort zone. I was so fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. And I would be crying real tears because it hurt so much.
Yeah.
But and like I tell them all the time, it's not easy, but it's worth it. So the first thing we got to do is stop suffering in silence and isolation. If you're not getting the outcome that you desire and deserve, if you're not living the life that you want, you don't have to stay stuck and struggling. You don't. There's help out there for you. Two, be willing to put in the work. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it. Those are the two things that I deal with the most is, man, it's lying to themselves. It's not that bad. Are you getting the outcomes that you want?
Yeah.
Are you living the life that you desire, deserve, and dream of?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Well, and I think that, how do I want to put it? Okay. Here's an example. So men will go into the doctor or the dentist or the mechanic, and they'll be like, look, cut the BS, right? Like, I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to do this, that. Like, they have this way about, men do, to where they want to just do the bare minimum, right, to get by, right? And I'm one of them. Look, I'm a man, like I'll try to do this with the mechanic. No. They don't need to be balanced. Just rotate them, right? No, because you think how do they deal with that? I guess at the beginning of working with somebody like yourself, or, I mean, that's got to be a huge step. Not, I guess half-ass it is the way to put it. Like, what half-ass, the problem?
Oh yeah. Well, the biggest thing we do, man, one of the biggest components of my program is accountability.
Yeah.
We strip away the bullshit. We strip away the excuses.
Yeah.
We're very understanding and responsive. And the way, like I tell my clients all the time, man, like you're gonna have to show up. And I tell them, look, there's days I show up and I kick ass, but there's also days I show up and I get my ass kicked. But no
That's
matter
right.
what, I'm showing up. So you're gonna have to show up because this just doesn't happen through osmosis. This isn't going to fix itself. So the way we go through our process of getting to that place, man, we strip away the BS, and we get them to see their true pain points and where they're at. And then we ask them, like, do you want to continue to go on this way? Is this how you want to continue to live? Because if not, we're going to have to make changes. So once we get them out of that river in Egypt called denial, once we get them out of there, then we're able to start doing the work. But then when they slip up or it's too uncomfortable or it gets too hard, we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We talk, we check in with them, and we, where we at on your modules, tell me what's going on. And we say all the time, and I got this from one of my coaches, don't run from us, run to us.
Yeah.
If you're struggling, if you run to us, like I tell my clients all the time, you have my number. The only day I will not be available for you are Saturdays. Saturdays is my fiance's day. My day is college football Saturday when it's, during the fall. Like
right.
And I tell them, I don't work on Saturdays unless it's a serious crisis. But any other time, you can call me, shoot me a text. There's times I talk to clients at 2 a.m. If it's a crisis, if it's something, because, not to brag, but we got clients, and, we're international, we're global. So, I got to be available for those time zones. You understand what I'm saying? So they send me a message or text, and like, as long as I'm not in an interview, I'm not, on a sales call, I'm not in with another client, as long as I'm not doing any of those things, I will be available to you. But you have to reach out. You cannot shrink back to those old behaviors or the things that kept you comfortable, but also kept you stuck. That's the main thing.
The self-sabotaging.
Yes.
Exactly. 100%. Well, I got to ask you this, and I ask, all of our guests kind of the same question to kind of finish up our conversation. I wish we could talk for hours, but as you know, time is limited. What, I guess, piece of advice do you have for, because you specifically deal with men, but I also want you to tell the women as well, because they're the counterpart for this man. What is the, I guess, two best pieces of advice that you have for the men out there, and even the women that are listening, that have a man that might need some help? What piece of advice do you have for them?
One, for the men. Embrace vulnerability.
Embrace vulnerability.
Vulnerability is where the healing takes place at. We cannot be closed off and think that we're going to heal. We cannot hold on to the things that are hurting us, the things that are keeping us down. We cannot hold on to these things and think that we're going to adapt, recover, and grow, that we're going to heal. Embrace the vulnerability, because that is true strength. You don't have to be this tough guy. You don't have to be this dude that just sucks it up or just man up. I hate that terminology. Man up or suck it up. You don't have to be that guy. It's okay that you're not okay. It's okay that you're hurting. It's okay that you're struggling. But what's not okay is hiding it. What's not okay is avoiding it. What's not okay is suppressing it, because men are dying in droves because of their mental and emotional well-being and feeling like they can't talk to me
100%.
or feeling like they have to be this tough guy. You don't have to be. And for my women, be supportive. Make space for what your man is dealing with. Make space and encourage him to seek help, to talk to someone that he trusts, to find a therapist, a coach, a counselor, whatever, a men's group. I don't give a darn if it's DB Empowers, if it's the Provoke Code. I don't care, but talk
Doesn't
about
matter.
it. Talk about it. Create that space to have a difficult conversation and see that he's struggling, and be encouraging, be understanding, and be responsive. And encourage him to seek the help that he needs.
100%, and that's so powerful what you said is that, and I mean, even for the couples, like if there's husbands and wives and significant others, if they're watching this or, it doesn't matter, who's out there listening, they know somebody and there's somebody that needs that assistance. And you're absolutely right. Silence is such a, it kills so many dreams by you not speaking up, by you not working it out. And, and I guess you probably deal with this a lot to where people, I know for me, it's kind of like a good cry. You get this euphoria, and I know the chemicals mentally that get released after a good cry, but this euphoric feeling after you get something, whether it's off your chest or whether you're not silent about it anymore. That's so powerful what you said, because people keep their mouth shut a lot, and especially people our age, right? And like you said, your age group from 20 to, maybe mid 40s, right in there, it's easy to keep your mouth shut and just keep running the play. It's easy for you to keep your mouth shut and keep it to yourself. That's so powerful what you said. And especially for the ladies too, listening, or the significant others of those men, look, support them, right? Listen, make space. What is that what you said? You said make space.
Yeah, because a lot of times, to touch on what you just talked about the silence and everything like that, one thing I tell men all the time is the only thing that's different about what you're going through is your first and last name.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon. Wow. You're not the only person who's dealing with this in this world. And when men start to realize that and they bring that into their awareness, then they feel more confident. That's, to be honest with you, Clint, that's why I started talking about the sexual abuse I endured. Yeah. See, I could talk about the physical abuse. I could talk about the emotional. I could talk about the issues with my dad. That was more socially acceptable for a black young man to have an issue with his dad. To grow up in a fatherless household. That's more socially acceptable for a black man, a big black man like myself, to talk about I was sexually molested. To talk about the pain and the discomfort and the confusion that went along with that. Especially when it was somebody in my family, an older male cousin. And how it was, when I started talking about the thing, I'll never forget, a dude told me, an activist at the juvenile facility I was working at, who runs a group, he said, "Hey man, you got a powerful story." We just happened to talk, and he was one of the first people I openly talked to about things I endured. He said, "You got a powerful story. You need to share that. More men need to hear that." Yeah. You're not the only man that went through that, but a lot of times men don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to talk about it, and they want to keep silent, because it's not manly, and they're embarrassed and, and all that. But you're right. I mean, things become socially accepted, right? And it's just like, success and failure, they leave clues. So, is it socially acceptable excuses for failure or discomfort, right? And it doesn't need to be. Wow, man. You have such an awesome story, man. And you're such a powerful communicator. I can't wait to get you on for round 2. I know that, we're definitely going to do some things together in the future and do some good collabs. And I appreciate you being on. Where can people find you though? I mean, where's the easiest place to go? I know you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook as well.
Easiest place is Facebook, Derek Butler, Instagram, Derek Butler Empowers, LinkedIn, Derek Butler. Look me up. If you're struggling, if you're dealing with a lot of stress, anxiety, limiting beliefs and behaviors, you don't have to suffer in silence and isolation. You don't have to stay stuck and struggling. Reach out to me. You can look me up, like I said, Facebook, Derek Butler, Instagram, Derek Butler Empowers, LinkedIn, Derek Butler. Shoot me a message, man, and we will see, if and how we can help you overcome these limiting beliefs and better respond to the things that are going on in and around you, so you can show up with more confidence, certainty, and authenticity.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being on. I'm going to have you hang around just for a second.
Absolutely.
We'll let everybody else off. Everybody else, look, if you love this, hey, first of all, shoot out to Derek. Find him, let him know that you love the episode. Hey, if you want to share it, give us a review, 5 stars, of course. We would love you for it. We definitely appreciate it. And as always, provoke positive change, not only in your life, but in the lives of others. And of course, your peak performance as well. We'll talk to you soon.